Welcome to the Cocktail Guru Podcast,
a show about food, drink, and entertainment,
with a tight focus on the good life,
and all things delicious, luxurious, and fun.
I'm Jonathan Pogash, bartender, author, and the host of Cocktails The Grand Tour.
And I'm Jeffrey Pogash, wine and spirits professional, author, insatiable collector of culinary ephemera, and so people tell me, an engaging raconteur.
And my dad. All right, Dad, how are you today?
I'm great, John.
Good.
How are you?
You had such a serious look on your face just now, but now...
That's because I'm thinking. I'm thinking about our next guest, who happens to be a very important guest. So I've been thinking about it for the last week.
You are all about the research, and you do quite a bit of research on every single one of our guests, and I really appreciate that, Dad, because I do not have the time to do that, and you do because you are retired and
because I have nothing else.
And you really have nothing else to do. You literally have zero other things to do.
Yes, but I'm in good shape now because I have a drink in front of me.
Tell us about the drink that you have.
This is a drink that I haven't created, that I've made in honor of our guest, because I think it's a drink that she likes very much. It's called a yella. And it's made with tequila. It's made with pineapple juice, tequila, orange marmalade, orange blossom, and it is and ginger liqueur as well.
It's so good,
and it is fantastic. It's a very refreshing drink. I don't know if it's normally served on the rocks or straight up. I think it's on choice.
I think it is served on the rocks.
But I've put a lot of ice in mine, and it becomes even more refreshing.
Very refreshing. And that hint of the orange blossom water. You know, orange blossom water, as I'm sure all chefs and mixologists can attest to, it's kind of a hard ingredient to use in food and culinary and drinks because too much and it just completely takes over. So really a couple of drops makes it nicely balanced, and that tequila and the pineapple is just kind of a natural combination.
Well, I've added just the right amount, because it gives the drink a very exotic flavor.
It is. I
use the term exotic. That's what it makes me think.
It actually has a little bit of a Mediterranean flair.
It's Israeli, Mediterranean, yes.
And that brings us to the guest.
Gives away part of the information concerning our guest.
On today's show, Dad, we have one of the great obsessions that I share with you, Dad. A well-known person. Yes, food is food. Let's get to the bottom of this. Get to the point. Food is the great obsession that I share with you, Dad. I learned it all from you. I learned it by watching you.
Thank you.
We have one of the country's finest Mediterranean and Middle Eastern chefs. She happens to be from Israel, but has been living and working in New York City for the past 20 years or so. She is the owner of Balaboosta and the great falafel restaurant Taim. While living in her native country of Israel, she was a cook in the Israeli army and then worked in a fine dining establishment in Tel Aviv. This is all the reason. This is the research that Dad did. Just need to give him credit for that. She's the author of 2 books, Shuk, From Market to Table, The Heart of Israeli Home Cooking. That was in 2019. And the book Balaboosta in 2013. A hearty welcome to Chef Einat Admony. Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Welcome. Hi.
Nice
How are you?
Here. Very good. Better than yesterday.
What happened yesterday?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Just in general, it's better. It's better day.
I'm better than yesterday too.
Every day is better than the other.
Wow.
Every day we wake up is a great day.
That's quite an outlook. I really like. We should talk more about that. But before we talk more about our outlook on life and life's journey, we have one question that we always make sure to ask all of our guests, and you do not take we won't take exception to you, because this question is geared towards you. We know that you like food, you like cocktails. What is your desert island cocktail? That is the drink that if you're stranded on a desert island and you don't have anything with you but
yalla.
The yalla. Okay.
Of course, that's
what I thought you would say.
Yeah, yalla. That's my favorite drinks at the restaurant.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well,
by
cheers.
Far. I would do. Yeah, cheers, l'chaim, guys.
L'chaim.
I think yalla. I like tequila a lot, so Yeah.
Yeah, and we were reminiscing earlier off camera about how I met Chef Einat, and we were just remembering that it was actually we were supposed to do a TV cocktail segment for Passover in I guess it would have been April 2020, and we were planning for it in February and March, and then
And
everything
no, something else happened.
something else happened in March, right?
Yeah.
That kind of took over. So we ended up still doing it virtually, and you were on my Instagram Live, which was, I think, the first Instagram Live that I had ever done in my entire life.
No, my first and last one.
Oh,
But you
well,
do. I mean,
you're-
come on, you do a lot. You've done quite a bit of TV, and I've noticed during the pandemic you've done quite a bit of virtual stuff too.
I did. What else I had to do? Actually, I did a lot of things through pandemic. I have to say, a lot. Like it's the first time in my life that I was able to do whatever I want to. So I'm working since I'm 15. I never almost ever stopped. So that was a break.
and did Balaboosta continue
On and off
throughout?
like everyone else. So
On
it
and
was
on,
closed
yeah.
for a long time, then open, try, and then didn't work out. Like everyone else, we try to shift and pivot to something else, try to do ordering, packaging. It's not for this restaurant. So after a while we close it until we reopened last year, and we're doing very well right now. So it feels good.
Excellent. And
Yeah.
Taim is doing very well too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Taim, I step aside a bit from Taim, so
Hmm.
that's a great thing for me to deal with other things. So I'm not in operation anymore, so that's a good thing. But I'm in Balaboosta on a daily basis.
And I want to take it back to where you grew up and your childhood. I love hearing about people's origin stories. As I call it. So
Unless the boring
unless it's
stories,
boring,
right?
but I know that it's not boring
Yeah.
because it's you. You're definitely not a boring person.
No.
You grew up in Israel,
Yes, I did.
and what was that like?
Awesome. It was the best place in the world. I in Israel, very different than to grow up here. Um, How is that like? I grew up with a Persian mom and Yemenite dad. Food, we had a lot of different culture inside the house, including Iraqi food, Moroccan food, and some Ashkenazi food, since all our neighbors was Ashkenazi. So we had a lot of like melting pot culture inside my Shabbat dinners, and that was great. But it's very interesting. Growing up in Israel, you basically need to grow some thick skin, which you can be too sensitive. People said what they want to say. It's a very um, culture of intruding and get into your business. Um, but at the same time, it's very refreshing. Much less passive aggressive comment and more like in your face.
Direct, right? They'll tell you what
And
they think.
I,
It's just aggressive. Yes.
I don't I disagree with that. I actually think it's much more refreshing to hear somebody's opinion than get a smile and then get a
Mm,
comment on Yelp.
right.
I think it's much for me. I rather that. That's the one thing. If people ask me why I miss about Israel, and I've been asked that a lot. Like, you miss your country? Are you miss home? And the one things I miss is the people actually, for good and bad, because it's the sense of community. It's like nowhere else in the world. You would never see that. The sense of community are very very strong, of course, because we live also under a very a war all the time, and problems and occupation and whatever is that, it's like it's tough. So there is a very strong sense of community, but also people actually say what they feel, and I completely miss that. Like, here I'm on an eggshell for 20 years. Oh my God, can I
Yes.
say that?
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm gonna
Yes,
be
you may.
canceled.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
yeah, to
Because
you maybe, but most of people are super sensitive. They always have something to say. They're
Yeah.
always like,
So
can
for instance, if you were, not that this would ever happen to you, but if you were serving food to someone, at a table in the U.S. and you came over and you said, "How is everything?" And everyone's like, "It's great. Oh my gosh, it's amazing." But maybe if you were in Israel and if one person didn't like something, they'd say, "Nah, it's not good. This is kind of shit."
I like that. How
You
I can
like
get
that,
better.
right?
Absolutely.
I feel the
Shit.
same way.
I wouldn't appreciate if somebody would say shit, because that's not how I've been raised, and it would be annoying to hear something like that. But to have a kind of built-in criticism, it will help me to be better and serve you next time. And the food maybe now, obviously, we all are so individual and we have different taste and different. What I would cook for you would be probably different than what I would cook for a friend I grew up in Israel, because the palate is super different. But at the same time, it's like I would like to hear it. When I go to a table, especially if it's friends that I trust. If I go to a table, I don't ask how is everything, but it's never everything
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Nothing,
right, right.
like there is few things I always ask my the front of the house staff not to said, "Are you still
Are
working?"
you still working on
I'm
that?
like,
Yeah.
"Fuck that! No, nobody work when you eat. You're
It makes no
enjoying."
sense. You're right.
I know. So there is few sentences we're trying to kind of avoid from, approaching customer. That's one of them. But it's also everything is good. No, it's never everything good. There is always something that is not quite good. So for me, if I go to friends that come into the restaurant, I would ask what you didn't like. I don't ask what you like, because I know what is great and what I need to improve. I would want to hear actually the bad stuff, because that's, as we all know, we get in better by not when we succeed. We always
Our,
get better
our
and
failures.
always. So for me, I want to see where I can improve and not just get more patting on my ego, how amazing, talented, and fabulous chef I am.
That's true
Well,
too.
my wife would feels the same way you do about Americans versus Israelis, and
Yeah, she's Moroccan.
she's Moroccan, but she grew up. She moved to Paris when she was 6 years old, so
Yeah.
she spent
Yeah, but
most of
my
her time
husband
in
is French.
Paris.
So
Yep, that's right.
my husband is Provence. So he's specifically not him, but a lot of French Parisian are very kind of, yeah, tough cookies like
Yep,
Israel.
exactly, exactly. And I was in Israel only for the first time 4 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it was for a funeral, but that's what it took to get me to Israel. I it was Israel was never on my list of places to visit, and
How
I'm
come, as a Jewish person?
And
that's
you never got me there. I still have never been to
well,
How
Israel.
come?
you're
Wow.
still young, Jonathan. Because I don't know, I had other priorities. I was more interested in Europe, more interested in
I,
Asia,
yeah,
and I was so happy when I made that trip to Israel because it really opened up my eyes,
yeah,
just from a cultural standpoint, but also from a culinary standpoint, because as you often say, Israel is an incredible melting pot
yeah.
of culinary
Yeah,
traditions.
I think for the average Joe in America, when they think Israel, the first things they think is about the politics things, and it's very hard to separate that, which is always annoying for me. And Israel, I think it's one of the most unique and incredible places ever.
Well,
If it's the food, if it's the people, if it's the landscape, it's so many, it's beautiful places, and yeah,
yeah, I mean, I went to the Dead Sea. I went to the Negev desert.
yeah,
It's just an incredibly beautiful country
yeah,
and
for sure.
wonderful people.
You know,
And of course, some of my relatives are Israeli as well. So
we had a plan. I think we had the plan to go there as a family, Dad, in the summer of 2020, possibly.
And somebody just died and you had to go
Yeah, I
without
know.
you.
Someone just right,
right,
exactly.
right. But we will go again. There's no question about that.
And so, as you were growing up, I assume you grew up in a household that was just full of amazing food and traditions. And is that sort of how you began cooking?
Absolutely. I began cooking because I didn't have much choice. It's not because I was volunteering. I began cooking because the funny things, very old fashioned family. They became religious when I was a teenager. The Shabbat dinner was always exist even before they got religious. So the preparing for holidays and Shabbat every week, it's like was a little bit, intensive. I start like that. I start cooking like that, like preparing with my mom every week. And slowly I found, I think after years when I was in the mid 20s, I just realized that everywhere I've been, and I travel a lot until then, everywhere I've been, if it's in the military, I lived in Europe for 5 years, everywhere I just became the cook. It was come naturally for me. Like I just cook for everyone, always, always, and always. And I think when I choose what I want to do, because college wasn't for me, I tried 3 months and I ran away. I could too. My brain is too fast to kind of sit down and be. My attention span is just ridiculous.
But you
So
did take a course or two in culinary school.
I did a culinary school for
Yes.
the program is very different than here. It's 10 months.
Yeah.
It's not 2 years, and also you don't pay. The government pay you to go and actually
Right.
give you money to. They give you 70% of your old salary in order to continue. So it's not just you're not paying. You get in supports to live while you study, which is amazing. Yeah, that's social countries.
It's
It's very
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's yeah
Yeah.
very different than here. But I went to for the 10 months and I finished in internship at Karen restaurant, which was
Mhm.
probably the best restaurant back then. Um, and that was very exciting for me. And right after I came here,
So you were in your mid-20s when you came to New York?
27.
Hmm. And where
Yeah.
did you start working when you came to New York?
My first restaurant in New York was Bolo, Bobby Flay and Laurent.
Oh,
Mhm.
yes.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I remember it well. Yes.
Yeah, my second restaurant was Tabla.
Tabla, yeah.
I worked there for a year, and I work at Danube, and I
And,
work at Patria, and I work at
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Did
Crocos.
you
I work.
did you work with our good friend Albert Trummer at Danube by chance? Do you remember Albert?
He's a bartender.
He would have done the bar. Did he work at Danube, or was it Stefan Trummer who worked at
No, maybe
Danube?
Stefan.
I did work at Danube, and
Yes, you did.
Steph worked at Boulet. That's how we met. He worked next door
Stefan.
as a
Stefan.
my husband.
No, Stefan Trummer, who is a
Oh,
mixologist and bartender. Who
where?
worked at he worked at
He
Danube.
worked at Danube, and he also worked at Boulet.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
worked. So I worked at. Do you remember Boulet Bakery when they opened that? I helped. I worked with Stefan Trummer, who did the cocktail side.
My husband would know him,
Yes, probably.
Mhm.
and Donald, my friend that worked with me at Danube for a little bit longer, that know and remember everyone. It's 20 years back. I don't remember. I smoke too much weed to remember shit.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about food. because
Before we talk about food, we're going to take a quick break and be right back. Dad, you sure do have a zest for life.
You know, John, my zest for life depends on which country I'm in.
Oh, do tell.
Well, since 1887, Mionetto has inspired an Italian zest for life, and I'm feeling that zest as we speak.
That is very interesting. It does have an elegant, fruity, and refreshing flavor.
Mionetto Prosecco actually turns moments big and small into moments that truly matter.
Dad, it's the moments with you that truly matter.
Oh, John, I'm tearing up. Really, so let's make a drink. Let's bring Italy to us this summer with the 3, 2, 1 spritz.
Sounds good. Cheers, Dad.
Cheers, John.
And now we're back.
So now we can talk about food because my mouth was watering. I'm looking at the menu from Balaboosta and I'm looking at different dishes that you've created on television for various people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just getting hungry. I want to go to Balaboosta right now. I want to have brick chicken and
Mm-hmm.
whipped feta and
That's good.
your special Balaboosta olives
Yeah,
and your
that's a signature for years and years.
and the Yemenite soup with those incredible dumplings.
Yeah, no, it's soup inside the dumpling.
Oh, it's soup in the dumpling. Ah, okay. So that's what Yemenites. It's the dumpling and there's soup in
No.
the.
So
No.
Yemenite, okay, so this is my dad was Yemenite, and
Yes.
that's what we eat every Friday. And in Passover, actually, we eat it with matzah. It's called fatut. It's a really cool thing. But a Yemenite soup can be with bones, oxtail,
Mhm.
calf, what else? Chicken. So there is free, and there is also bean soup of Yemenite bean soup that's very delicious. So there is several different Yemenite soup that's very known in the community, and that's something that for me it's very close. That's something I always do for the holidays, and it's something I grew up. But the other things I'm pretty obsessed with is soup dumpling, the Chinese soup dumpling,
Yes.
and I try to combine these two together for a long, long time. And until around 8 months ago, I found a master, a dumpling master, a woman named Le, that come in here and we make it the soup. And of course, we need to put some gelatin inside the soup so it's whole. We mix it with some beautiful beef and spices and all the Yemenite spices, and then she's making this gorgeous dumpling, and then it's a soup dumpling,
So
a Yemenite soup dumpling that I serve with chilbe, which is like a fenugreek kind of sauce next to it.
Mhm.
so it's soup inside the dumpling.
Yep.
So when you chew it, you break it open. It's like
You need to be careful.
There's
Yeah,
liquid.
You need to be
liquid.
careful.
yeah, yeah.
It,
That's
it
what
is.
it is.
It looks so good, and the dumpling is beautiful.
Yeah,
And then there you do a stuffed kibe.
yeah. Not anymore. Just
Oh,
for
you
my
don't? Okay.
No, no, not anymore. I do that. I actually did it last week for my family meal, just so people understand some new things that not on the menu anymore, but
Sure.
more
Sure.
more introduction to the cuisine. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, my mother-in-law used to make that too, along with shakshuka.
yeah,
She used
soup,
to make
soup.
that delicious
Yeah,
egg and tomato dish.
yeah.
Fantastic.
And so working up through the ranks in restaurants in New York City, when was that the moment where you thought to yourself, okay, well, or maybe you didn't think this, but I'm just in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe did she think about not working for anyone anymore and just trying to work for herself and to create
No,
something? No.
I was scared to work for myself.
Mm,
I actually
yeah.
was very good working for other people. I was always want to prove. So I'm a person that always want to show I'm good. I always move very fast in every restaurant I ever worked. I come in my day off to learn new things. I was very, very ambitious and no, never care about really working hard. So I was scared actually to open my own place. How I going to manage myself? I want somebody else to manage me.
Mhm.
And then I
Yep.
realized I'm kind of awesome. So
Oh, yeah. One day you were like, you know what?
I'm
I'm freaking
good.
awesome. I'm good. I
No,
deserve it.
it took me time because I was super scared to open on, and this is I have to say that the most of the heavy lifting and the sweat my husband put in Taim. I work at the same time, so I was working as a head chef in a restaurant back then called Ludo, which was next door to Prune,
Hmm.
and I'm
Yes.
pregnant and I'm opening Taim. So I was pregnant with my first.
Dad, you want to take that?
Uh,
He doesn't
I have
even
no
know.
idea. I don't even know where
He
it's
doesn't even
coming
know where it
from.
is. Oh, geez, what is happening?
Well,
Did you forgot to silence your phone
well, I did silence.
Again,
I
again?
thought I silenced my phone. I put it down to 0, but it
All right, that's
apparently
okay.
didn't work. It's a new phone,
All
so and
right,
I'm not the most adept
are
when
you
it comes
blaming the
to.
phone now? It's a new
he's
I'm
phone.
blaming.
blaming
He's
the
exactly.
phone.
That's
The,
exactly it.
It's too technologically advanced for me.
Keep going,
I
chef.
get it.
That's why that's why I'm sitting here drinking my second drink after the yalla. I've decided in honor of Einat, I have made the Balaboosta Harissa Bloody Mary.
He,
Wow.
I know
Yes, I have
he
it
went a
right
little
here.
he went a little crazy with these cocktails today. Two cocktails in the span of.
What's the
Yes,
time? Are
that's
you
not
in the
normal.
East Coast, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, 2:45. We're good. Yeah,
I'm
it's
in New
afternoon.
Jersey. Yes, yes.
Oh,
It's afternoon.
And
New Jersey time
I
is
just,
different.
I just want to tell you something. So my husband is a great drinker. Yeah, he can hold his
Mhm.
drink. So we went to a vacation once to Jamaica, and
Mm.
of course, the first minute I got there, I got my weed. So we in the resort,
Of
and
course.
I tell my husband 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I start
Yes.
rolling, and he said, "Why so early?" I said, "You know what? Let's have a deal. Your first drink, my first joint."
Yeah, absolutely. I
20
mean,
minutes. 20 minutes after I rolled
You
my
know,
joint.
wake, bake, wake and bake.
I could drink
No,
this
but
any hour of the day.
Hey, it's
Absolutely.
legal now. We can talk about it. It doesn't really make a difference.
That's
yeah, I
right.
talked about it also before.
Even.
But yeah, now it's make you feel comfortable. That's fine.
Oh my goodness.
Uh,
I'm.
where we
That's hilarious.
Yes, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah,
But I'm going to drink to your good health right now
right.
with this
We're going to
harissa
be
Bloody
totally
Mary.
wasted at the end of it. I want to see him after 3
Yeah, I
drinks.
know, right? He's gonna be tanked.
I
Oh
can
no,
hold my drinks.
we will see about that.
Oh wow, the harissa! Really, I've never made a Bloody Mary with harissa before, and Bloody Mary is one of my specialties. So when
Mm.
I saw harissa Bloody Mary, I got very excited, and I absolutely had to make it in your honor. And I will probably continue using harissa in my Bloody Marys
You are
instead of
welcome.
cayenne pepper.
and so
Yeah.
I'm going to continue on with the timeline here. So in 2005, you opened Taim, and it was voted best
Yes,
falafel in the U.S.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was. It was amazing because I opened Taim while again I was a chef in a restaurant. I was pregnant with my boy, and then I opened a place that I thought I'm going to take 3 months to kind of run, and then get out of it. And of course, I think in something else happened. We plan, and then
Yeah.
Scott is laughing, um, and then it was very tough the first year of Taim. It was kind of almost impossible. Nobody know about this place. It's in a really hole in a wall in a West Village in a street that nobody is like passing. And I think a year after we opened, a year and a half, things start like moving, which was great because my husband wanted to close that place. So he was that really, really that close to just like close the doors and say bye.
Mhm.
We had to loan money from his grandma few to pay employees. It was so tough. And I'm pregnant, and all our money is inside that place. It was pretty rough time. And things got better. Like we had one article, people start knowing about it. And then in the next 2 years after that, we had like a crazy amount of press that I was shocked. Like I couldn't believe I got poems from people about the Taim and love letters and article all around the world and TV appearances. It's got really it was very exciting moment to see. I was like street food, of Middle East, something I grew up, and I didn't like falafel when I grew up. I have to say, wasn't.
Really?
Nope.
Oh,
No, it's
that's
always give me heartburn. My dad used to bring it from a very specific place, and every time I used to take a bite, I like, as a kid, it's give me like not a great feeling. So I
mm,
I wasn't like a big fan of falafel. So when I opened, I said I want to make falafel that I enjoy, that don't have all these fillers like bread and baking soda and
Mhm.
all that, and something that I really and I enjoyed it, and I thought it's delicious. And I worked 3 months on the recipe of all this place, and then my baby is born, and my husband was working like crazy.
mm. Well, how does your falafel differ from other falafels?
It's just better.
Ah,
It's no, I'm joking. It's first it's straight chickpea. I try a lot of like fava bean, Egyptian doing with fava bean. I
yeah.
tried that. I didn't like that much. So it's always chickpeas. Ratio of like onion is the right amount with the
Hmm.
juice, so it's moist
Right.
inside and get enough crispy. And there is all kind of tricks of how to grind it so it's not too mushy and fine and not too hard coarse.
Mm,
Um, I work on so many recipe before, and then at the beginning, we used to have three different kind of falafel back then, and every day a new special. So every day you would go to the tiny Taim and you would have four different falafel flavor to choose from,
Wow.
which was super cool. And then I really want to create also a recipe that don't have gluten inside and not baking soda. I don't think the baking soda is necessary in any falafel, but I think that's what make it better. It's just straight veggies and grain and no fillers.
mm.
A few years later, Balaboosta came about, right?
Yeah, 5 years later in 2010, and that was funny because a lot of people ask. The first article was, "Can you falafel queen can actually cook?" I was
Right.
so pissed
Right.
about
Yeah.
this
I
article.
saw
What a
that.
headline!
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
Like, yes, you can. Um, I think that all the articles came is about most of it. Until then, it's about me doing falafel. It wasn't about me being in fine dining for years, working my ass off in like a really fancy places. It was what everybody knows is me doing falafel. So opening a restaurant, they I don't think people was aware that I was coming from fine dining before, and I have a lot of experience for many years before I opened my falafel place. A lot of people was against it and said, "Oh, you don't need to," like thought that it's big mistake because Taim doing so great. Why not to open more of that? And for me, I was never driven by money. I don't think that was any part of my career. It's never was until later when my kids, getting older, and I'm like, okay, I need to think about their future. So money's coming, you know, very important, and the decision is changing a bit. But I don't think that until then, any time of my career, it was like a money question. So I want to kind of like do what I really want to do is cook.
And you do it very, very well.
Thanks.
And we hope you will continue for a very long time.
Me too. Not very
Yes.
long time, I'm
Yes,
50.
She wants
a
to
How long?
very long
she wants to
How long do
retire.
I
You
have?
want to retire sometime. Dad just has a lot of extra time, so he just thinks about
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
you can train me and I'll help you in the kitchen. How's that?
You want to be you
Great.
want to be a sous chef?
I don't
I
know.
would consider it. I would consider it.
He has always wanted to be a butler.
Oh my
I
God.
know.
Really?
Yes, I was considering that profession at one time. A gentleman's gentleman.
How are those drinks, Dad?
The drinks are great.
And so Balaboosta opened in 2010, and you moved from an original location, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago, maybe more.
In 2018,
Thank you.
you moved from Mulberry to Hudson.
Shit.
Yes, I
So
can
now
tell
I'm
you.
going to call Jonathan every time. No, Jonathan, Jeffrey,
Jeffrey.
sorry.
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to call Jeffrey every time I forgot the dates and, yeah, because I don't remember.
Well,
There's so
please
many
do.
things. I
Call me.
will. Are you
Just
not
call me.
joking? I will. I said, so do
Okay.
you remember when I opened Kish-Kash and when I closed it?
Yes.
Because, yeah. Um, yes, so in 2018, wow, that's a long time ago. We
Mm-hmm.
moved it to Bolonat. We closed Bolonat in order to move Balaboosta here.
Right.
Closing Balaboosta in Mulberry after 10, almost, I think it was exact kind of 10 years. It was very tough, very, very. And I closed restaurant before that. I closed Combina before that, and it was tough. And I want to keep that restaurant and that beautiful name and the concept. And so I was super excited when opportunity arose to kind of like bring it just here to the West Village, and it was a very very smart and uh, great move for us.
Yeah. And we should let people know what Balaboosta means for those who don't.
Mm. So funny. Somebody just wrote me an email yesterday or 2 days ago about why I called my restaurant Balaboosta when she just realized after a dad called a Balaboosta that Balaboosta, it's a woman that don't have any ambitions. It's a woman that born to serve a guy. It's a woman that just know how to cook and take care of the family. A perfect housewife. It's kind of oppressive and almost insulting for a woman.
Yes. A dedicated housewife. Yes.
But
Yes.
this is not what I explain Balaboosta these days. When people ask me what is Balaboosta, so yes, the fast things is to say perfect housewife, but it's so much more for me. Because first, what is perfect housewife? Who is how many housewife? Everybody get out to work now, and women are in a very different situation than in the 50s. And I think Balaboosta is something a much more spiritual level for me. It's somebody that get the family together, and she can host and she can be a gracious host, and she can cook, she can do things, she can organize like trips and stuff, and it's much more than somebody that just cook and take care of her husband. I think my husband taking care of more of me than I taking care of him at the end of the day. And I think that Balaboosta is a completely a different meaning these days.
Well, Einat, you are the hostess with the mostest,
Yeah,
I'm sure, as we say in America.
Dad is full of the dad jokes. That's what he's known for. We wanted to also mention you were on Chopped as well. Is that right?
Yes, how we can't forget that.
that was a while ago. There's so many things happened since then,
Well,
guys.
you
Sorry.
won.
Jeffrey,
You won
Jeffrey,
Chopped.
I'm very disappointed now. That was 15 years ago. Actually, I was in the first season of Chopped,
It
and then
doesn't matter when, but you
yeah.
won Chopped, and it was
Oh,
fantastic.
by the way, twice.
Well, there
Twice.
you. Did that open quite a bit of doors for you, or
I don't know. No,
no? No.
TV is not. It's. I don't
Well,
know. I like to do TV. I just did some TOC, the Tournament of Champion. I tomorrow I'm going to play with Bobby Flay again.
hmm,
I do a lot of TV lately, a lot of different things. So I don't know. It was so long ago. I don't know. I don't remember the doors opening or closing back then.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, Chopped
were
was
you
fun.
were you on ever on Beat Bobby Flay?
I've been 20 times, maybe.
On Beat
I,
Bobby Flay?
I've been twice as a
Wow,
competitors and
wow,
maybe 20 times as a judge. Yeah. Um,
fantastic.
yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, we love food, obviously, and we love Mediterranean foods. And Dad listed out some of the foods that I grew up having, and that he spent a lot of time eating.
Just very simple family Moroccan food like lubia
Lubia,
and
that's black eyed pea. Yeah,
no lubia, just lubia beans, bean soup. It's a bean
black eyed
soup.
pea.
Maybe like your
Like,
well,
Dad, who are you? You're talking.
ours were not. No, ours were not black eyed. They were just beans, not black eyed.
Lubia, it's
Maybe
lubia.
yeah.
So they changed the things. Lubia in Hebrew, it's mean black eyed pea.
Ah,
I'm just
ah,
saying.
There you go,
that's
Okay,
very.
Dad.
so
I
No,
didn't even
please
know
don't
that.
argue with Chef Einat.
I will.
yeah.
Well,
All right. So
tafina was another
tfina.
dish.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
I
course, merguez, of course,
uh-huh.
and couscous, and one of my favorite dishes, which is very simple, not something glorious, but it satisfies my palate like no other dish, and that's fried sautéed red peppers and egg, fried egg,
What is
mixed
that?
in with garlic. It's called poivron frit. In France, they call it poivron frit. It's fantastic.
She doesn't know
Lots
it.
of
You stumped.
garlic.
You stumped
Lots of
her.
garlic.
It's not matbucha with tomato sauce, right? We're not talking about
It's
that
not.
type.
It's not with tomato sauce. Nope. It's
Okay.
just very easy. Red pepper, fried egg, but lots of garlic in the pan with the pepper, and it's just so flavorful, so good.
Sounds good.
Mm.
We always wish that we have unlimited time to speak with our guests, and especially you, Chef Einat, because I'm tasting in my brain all of these foods that we're talking about, and it's making me very hungry. And I also know I've seen on social media that you work with companies that will send you food to your house. I think through
I
subscription
work with
with Cook.
Cook
Yes,
Unity. It's my amazing company that have packaging food. They have 35, probably more now in New York, chefs. A lot of amazing chefs like Dan Kluger, the Forgiani, Esther Choi, Leah Cohen, many, John DeLucci. A lot of different chefs on the company, and each one have his own platform and own dishes. And I work with them for over a year now, which is super great and very exciting. I have a in Miami and LA, Chicago, and New York.
Hmm. Fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
This has been an absolute pleasure. Again,
thank
we wish
you.
we could keep chatting. We need to, Dad. Can we go next
Yes, we
time?
need to go to Balaboosta. I know
Jeez,
because
so many places.
there's one last thing that my mouth is watering over, and that's the baklava dessert.
Oh, that's the best. Actually,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
yeah, it's a must.
Oh, it's got
It's
ice
so
cream
much
in
work.
it. Oh,
It's so much work, and every time when I dealing with payroll and thing, I said, "Oh, this take forever," but I don't care. That's the one thing I don't care. I want to keep it. It's very unique.
it kind of
Fried ice cream that tastes
reminds
like
me
baklava.
reminds me a little bit, not a little bit of baked Alaska. Is an Israeli version of baked Alaska.
What is
Yeah.
what is baked Alaska, Dad?
Well, it's meringue, ice cream, cake inside,
Flambéed.
meringue on top, flambéed. It's fantastic. You have to go to
Okay.
Delmonico's.
I don't really see the
to eat
connection,
that.
but as long as you see the connection,
Well,
it's
because it's ice cream.
it's there with you. It's all about your personal.
Yeah,
Puff pastry,
it's
ice
always.
cream. It's wonderful.
However,
It's always.
however you personalize it, that's the
But
experience.
we will go and enjoy it
Yes. So
at Balaboosta.
thank you again, Chef Einat.
Of course. Thank
And
you.
you're amazing. It's so great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you
You
very
too.
much. That does it for today's show. If you enjoy what we do, please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. You can also support the show with a small monthly donation to help sustain future episodes. Just click on the donate button at the top of our website and choose your donation amount. To learn more about future guests, visit www.thecocktailgurupodcast.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram.
The Cocktail Guru podcast is produced by First Reel Entertainment and distributed by EatsDrinksTV, a service of the Center for Culinary Culture, home of the Cocktail Collection, and is available via Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, and wherever you listen to your favorite shows.